New year, new look, but the Christmas tree stays. I also finally remembered to make sure my mic was recording, so hopefully no more audio issues this time. So, friends, the Golden Globes were about a week ago from the time of this recording. So, hey, future me editing, how long ago were the GGs? Awesome. Finger on the pulse. I don't really want to get into the whole awards show as a whole, so I'll just run down a few things. Oh my god, can you believe Tom Holland and Zendaya are possibly engaged? And also, how the hell did Emilia Perez win all those awards? Like over Wicked? Really? Hot take, I know, but the thing that caught my eye the most was a little promo/skit for Seth Rogen's new show called The Studio, where him and Catherine O'Hara complain about influencers at award shows. Finger on the pulse. But no, I was actually really intrigued with it, an inside baseball look at filmmaking and the politics that go into it. It looks really fun. A line that really got me was, I love movies. Why do I feel like it's my job to ruin them? Like, that hit home, man. It comes out in March, and I'll definitely be the first in, well, not line, because it's on streaming, so in my seat. When it comes out, I'll be there. But I can't help but feel the resemblance to another show I really loved about, a cast and crew trying to make a movie happen while also not losing their minds. If you know where I'm going, I'm talking about The Franchise on HBO, the joint effort between Sam Mendes and Armando Iannucci, the creator of Veep and Avenue 5. It was a stunning and hilarious and introspective, and it's canceled. It's canceled, and I'm very upset. And I know TV shows get canceled all the time, especially now, but this was like the first major hit of the season in terms of cancellations. And why that one? It had so much potential. I especially felt seen because it gave a real boots on the ground perspective in terms of filmmaking, and it was satirizing something very specific, making a Marvel movie. Warner Brothers, you saucy minxes, you. Trying to stir the pot. Though, to be honest, with how everything went wrong, it felt like more of a DC film, so it was kind of a self-owned, but definitely Marvel digs are in there. It follows a whole crew of characters, but mainly Daniel, the first AD of Tecto, Eye of the Storm, the most recent in the line of Maximum Studios movies. But as a new producer rolls in to take the reins because the movie is not only behind schedule and over budget, with no thanks to the film's artsy director, played by Daniel Bruhl, and the actors, played by Billy Magnuson and Richard E. Grant, everyone has to work together to not only get the movie made, but also make it more impactful in the eyes of the studio heads as it gets kind of lost in the shuffle and treated like an afterthought. Like the third stepchild you never really knew you had. And this is where the show really hit home for me, because not only was it funny, it was stressful. I mean, really stressful. I feel like anyone who worked on a film set in any capacity knows the kind of fears that this show puts on. Okay, well, maybe not fear, but not fear. When you know that you're just kind of standing around wasting time because that window for that shot you want is definitely closing. Having a very simple question, but having to defer to 8 different people. Not having the answer to the question and having to defer to someone else, getting chewed out for not doing your job, having someone else do your job, having someone else take your job, petty disagreements and even romances just dominoing into feuds that could derail everything, and maybe just having to lie a little bit that you went outside of guidelines, because it wasn't that bad, but if anyone found out, the entire thing would be shut down. And most of all, for me especially, the pressure to please everyone. Oh my god. I laughed as much as I hyperventilated. I'm about to hyperventilate right now. You feel it as the episodes go on and they just go deeper into this rabbit hole and more obstacles just keep getting in their way. And in my opinion, it made the episodes better, with my 2 favorites being back-to-back episodes, the fireball scene and the bridge scene, because they don't only raise the stakes, they also raise character arcs, with Daniel Bruhl's director character, Eric, falling into a Coppola-esque madness. Him believing, of course, that he might have killed cinema, and also the need to impress Christopher Nolan. Meanwhile, everyone else simply wants to just get the shot and go home. It also teases up Daniel and the third AD, Dag, my personal favorite character. Oh my gosh, she's so great. To actually start to form a coup against him and finish the movie while he's sulking in his trailer. And naturally, the power kind of goes to their heads with disastrous results.
Oh shit. They blew up the wrong bridge.
But despite all that, when they first have the power, you see them in their element. Like, everything starts to flow. It feels good. I would want to be a part of that set. Apart from, exploding the wrong bridge and destroying, like, a national landmark of Albania. But was that really their fault? I mean, really? Was it really? Was it? But the main obstacle in this show is, take a wild guess, it's studio interference. I mean, we're talking about a franchise here. How could we not do that? And it's all personified in Pat, who I can best describe as Joss Whedon, both physically and figuratively, on steroids. That man frightens me. And also, cute little Bryson, who's the mouthpiece for Shane, the God Emperor of the universe, and this show's version of Kevin Feige. Pat is definitely the face of the studio in this show and the main antagonist up until Eric starts to lose his mind. But Pat is on a whole other level, just casually saying everything he hates about this place that he works for and the people he works with, even admitting that the movie they're working on is only greenlit because Shane likes to announce stuff and he did it on accident. So because they treated this movie as an accident and an afterthought, they decided to dump all the studio's issues and shortcomings onto it because they don't care if it fails. This is included, but not limited to, just changes to the in-universe timeline and the studio timeline, having to rearrange around other people's schedules, having to solve the woman problem at the behest of angering the wrathful, male-dominated, nerdy fan base. And the toughest one, even though they actually kind of pull it off, until they don't, advertising to China.
Some product placement I want you to include in your movie.
Sure. What's the product?
Chinese farming machinery.
Left field.
And it just really shows how, like, this industry doesn't really give a shit from the top. Because, I mean, it is an industry. And I'm sure the case is that a lot of people love working on stuff like this and want to work on stuff like this. But it can just grind you down. Especially if you're working ridiculously long hours. Things are constantly shifting and changing. Plates are being juggled or thrown. And the thing people only really care about is the fact, oh, a character from this movie is coming onto our movie to set up the next movie. That's all that matters. No joke, that's the plot line of, like, episode 4, I believe, where Nick Kroll comes in as, hold on, what's his character's name? It's something stupid. The Gurgler. And the thing I took away the most from this is just the disconnect between staff, worker, and management. Because not only are they telling you that they're putting out fires that they probably started, the people with the boots on the ground have to keep their head above water because of those fires, and also just keep up this facade of enthusiasm and professionalism while you're breathing down their necks, all while dealing with each other who each have different motivations for being here. Some people legitimately just need to work. Some people are only there for the connection, some people are only there for the accolades and the perks, and some people are only there for the money. And then there's the other category, which I feel like I'm in, and I feel like a lot of us are in. This is what we want to do. But you're making it suck for us. Even the actors I feel for. Like, I felt for the actors, but especially the actors, too. Even though the main perspective is, like, AD, tech guy, producer, etc. The actors I feel for. Because you have one thinking that this movie's finally going to be his big break, and then the other is a classically trained theater actor who's kind of done with it and just hoping that another franchise picks him up because he needs the money. All while constantly butting heads with each other, dealing with the same problems that everyone else is dealing with the added pressure that they're the ones on camera, and they're the ones having to make all this work. Like, I'm not an actor. I don't really want to be an actor, but just being on camera right now, stressful as hell. I'm noticing everything wrong with me. So imagine if you're on a blockbuster set in a silly but cool costume, having to recite this dialogue, and the only thought I can imagine going through someone's brain is, I feel stupid, why am I here? But at least the money's good and your name's on it. Unless, of course, the movie gets pulled or axed. Like, I'm sure that's not the full vibe on a Marvel set, but I'm sure the melancholy is there of just like, oh, we're one of like 6 things slated for this year alone. We're going to get lost in the shuffle. So in the long run, does it even matter that we're making this? And then on the other hand, you have the ruthlessness of DC. Because, like, I know that James Gunn is at the helm now, but they still have these attitudes. I mean, they axed Batgirl, a fully done movie, for a tax write-off. They fully gutted Cartoon Network, and they killed not 1, but 2 DCUs this year. Maybe those jokes on the franchise hit a little too close to home, and that's why it's gone. Okay, I'm only kind of joking, but this is in Warner Brothers' wheelhouse. I mean, like, they're the face of heartless studio, in my opinion. David Zaslav, fight me. And they had, in my opinion, streamer producer brain, which is, oh, this show wasn't an immediate record-breaking hit. Can it? But I mean, there were, like, valid reasons for the show probably not getting picked up for season 2. I mean, it was very inside baseball in terms of other shows about, like, Hollywood and making projects, like Hacks, for example. Didn't really have that wide stream appeal. And also, if you're gonna satirize, like, a blockbuster franchise, you better have the budget like one. So I'm sure it was, like, really expensive. Like, maybe too expensive. It's an argument I could get behind if it wasn't the exact same studio pouring millions and millions of dollars into the Dragon Pit for a season of a fantasy show where nothing fucking happens, and there's 2 episodes missing. Sorry. I like House of the Dragon. I do. That was a cheap shot. Or rather, an expensive shot, because the joke... You know what I mean. I'm just bummed, because, again, it had so much potential, and when the season ended, in my opinion, it ended perfectly. Granted, I thought they were going to go a different route where, like, oh, they all hate each other at the end, they finish the movie, but the movie ends up being a surprise hit, and then boom, season 2, working on the sequel. But they didn't do that. They actually didn't do that. They swerved me. And I like that they swerved me, because the direction, in my opinion, was even better. Like, it teed everything up. Relationships and dynamics were about to shift, stakes were definitely raised, and it ended on a hopeful but even also dreadful note in terms of story and character, especially for Dan, who's given a choice of career of his dreams or possible happiness in doing the right thing. I was really excited. Now I'm upset. R.I.P. the franchise. Hopefully you have a second life on another streamer that actually appreciates you for what you are. I doubt that's going to happen, but I can dream. And also, here's to Rogan and Company for making the studio. It looks like a blast, and I'll definitely be watching, and maybe you can do what the franchise couldn't, which is just get a season 2. I mean, they definitely have the name recognition, the star power, and the track record to make a good thing happen, so I think it'll definitely last. Just, hey, don't drop the ball on the boys finale, and I think you can do just anything you want forever. Here's to you. Good luck. Then again, you're dealing with Apple TV. Can't believe that's actually a streaming service still. They have good stuff, but it's hard to imagine.